Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be making a quick little video on my Russian airborne Syrian uniform. So I'm going to work my way from top to bottom, getting into all the items that I'm wearing and getting into a little bit of the history. I'm going to try not to make this one super long just because there's a lot to go over, so I'm going to try my best here. Alright, so starting off, I just have the standard Russian Army field cap in the Syrian desert camo pattern. Then going down underneath, we have the classic airborne Chelnaska. I might have butchered that, forgive me. Then we have the jacket, or the shirt, and then we have the 6SH117 load-bearing vest. I just have the bare essentials you're going to need. Ammo pouches, flares, grenades, universal pouch, a 7-liter pack, a water bottle, AKS-74U rifle. And then going down, we have the pants, and then just some quick lace-up Rothko boots that I had laying around, nothing fancy. And if you want to get really, really specific, I should have some VKBO summer socks on, but I'm not going to go out of my way to buy something that you're not going to see. It doesn't really matter that much. Alright, so getting into the history of this uniform, it's honestly quite fascinating. So quite a while ago, in Russia's early days into Syria, they really didn't have a standard camo for the desert, and what they ended up having was the uniform and the equipment pieces were this sort of like weird pinky sandish color. And then the uniform started to progress a little bit, and it was sort of like it was still kind of like that weird pink sandish color, but it had more of like a pixelated pattern to it. And then this pattern you see here came out, and then this was revised a little bit, and this was the finalized design. But the pink 6SH117 in the pouches can still be seen quite often, and even when the finalized desert pattern came out, you can still see the pink camo pieces being used just because there's so many of them floating around. I wouldn't say a lot of them, but just, you know, in Syria at the time, they still had those pieces, so might as well put them to good use. And something else I should mention is sometimes you can see soldiers wearing the green, woodland EMR, the classic digital flora. But that's basically just entirely dependent on where you are located. So if there's a little bit of greenery where you are, you can mix and match your gear. But also it's just what you have available at the time and what you're getting issued. So my previous impression with this uniform had me wearing the 6B13 body armor and the digital flora, and then the helmet, the 6B47 helmet with the digital flora pattern. Except I just decided to swap that out with a field cap and just have everything be one color. And I was going to try to get some Syrian camo body armor, or just anything in pink, except pink stuff, the pink camo pattern stuff, is pretty expensive. And so is the regular desert digital that they have. It's honestly quite pricey. This load-bearing vest with all the pouches cost me, I think it was 450 something. It's a lot, but I saved up my pennies, and thankfully, by some miracle, I found a whole desert digital uniform, excluding the hat obviously, from AliExpress, and I thought it was a replica, except just some guy just had a ton of original Russian desert digital uniforms laying around, so he was selling them at a really, really good price. I think it was like $60 for the pants and the jacket, which is incredible. Like, AliExpress for the win, I guess. A closing note I wanted to say is, if you are going to try to build a desert Russian uniform or impression, just do a little bit of research, but mainly go off of reference photos. Just reference photos are great, just because the standard army doctrine for the Russians isn't exactly followed to the line. You can see a lot of the Russian soldiers tend to swap out their army boots for just stuff that they can buy at a shoe store. Hence why I'm using just these regular Rothko boots, just because the Russian army cannot escape the bane of their boots being not that comfortable. But I haven't tried any on, so I can't speak for that. But I guess the other soldiers who wore them can. This didn't really apply too much to Syria. It applies to the Russian army in Ukraine now, but like I was saying, like soldiers would buy their own boots, but now soldiers have to buy their own gear. I mean everything. But early on, when the Russian army was still issuing uniforms, you still had to buy some of your own stuff. But soldiers would go to like ANA Tactical instead of Technicom and just buy stuff that they needed and stuff that they thought would be necessary for their own kit.
Hey, Editor Caleb here. I would just like to quickly add a note saying that's kind of true, but also not true, where the Russian army still does issue uniforms and equipment. It's just with supply chain issues, sometimes soldiers either have to buy everything themselves, or the soldiers don't get issued an entire kit, so they have to fill in the gaps themselves. But that was sort of a half-truth. It's not entirely the case, but I just wanted to add that in here.
Just because it could either be more affordable or it just suited them for their particular environment. Alright, so I think that's going to do it for this video. I'm out of time, but I will try to make more of these like history, like kit review videos, just because it's honestly really, really fun. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.